on Sports Talk Worldwide with some news from the world of boxing. So y'all know what time it is. You ain't in a rush to get concussed, baby. Now, the aftermath of the Terence Crawford versus David Evanescence, right? Fight, 6-round knockout, knocked the hell out, right? We got a lot of stuff to talk about, right? But I'm going to try to still make it quick. A little bit under the weather, right? And I'm just going to start like this. It would be a shame if Terence Crawford and Errol Spence don't fight. That's what you hear everywhere because it's been an undisputed fight, And, hey, Terence Crawford don't have any signature fights, right? You hear about, he's not having any signature fights, any legacy fights, right? And I'm thinking, well, normally when you would say that, you would be like, well, at 135, look, he should have fought, fill in the blank there. Who should he have fought at 135? That's left. At 140, he should have fought. I was undisputed there. Who should I have fought at 140? Who's left? Is there anybody running around talking about I would have beat Terence Crawford? Either one of those divisions. At 147, he should have fought. Who? Only Errol Spence is left. Really. Because ain't nobody else nobody think gonna really beat him. You know what I mean? Now we got the new ones, the Virgil Ortizes and the Jaron Boot Ennis's of the world, who's going to get their shot, but you probably want to take care of Undisputed first. So, those are the legacy fights. Now, because Terence Crawford hasn't been in a close fight, a la Floyd Mayweather, we tend to think that the legacy's not there. Like, for example, Victor Postol was a legacy fight, right? Gamboa, legacy fight. But Victor Postol's a legacy fight. Now, if Terence Crawford barely won the first fight, had a second fight with Victor Postol, barely lost that, and they had a trilogy, all of a sudden that's legacy. But when you beat the hell out of somebody and there's distance in between theirs, you're never going to have a legacy fight with distance. You see what I'm saying? There's not going to be a legacy fight with distance in it. Now, when people say that he doesn't have a legacy fight or a fight that you can, really say that was something, then I think it's egregious in an article or on TV to talk about who Terence Crawford hasn't fought without mentioning that Manny Pacquiao was at the same place, top rank, and everybody involved was scared of Manny Pacquiao's well-being. Manny Pacquiao's team, meaning his promoter, his trainer, everybody in the industry was scared for Manny Pacquiao's well-being, and not just recently, for at least 7 years. It's documented. You'll see, if just go Pacquiao versus Terence Crawford, you'll start seeing the articles about Bob Arum saying, hey, I don't want Manny Pacquiao to get hurt here. I want him to be able to have a life after boxing. He better leave him alone. So that's your legacy fight, right? That's a legacy. Pacquiao doesn't want to fight him. And then you would think, well, Errol Spence is bigger than Terence Crawford. So I'm sure Pacquiao had the same sentiment and his team about Errol Spence. No, they don't. They think Errol Spence is too slow, and they were relieved to fight Errol Spence instead of Terence Crawford. That's documented too. Errol Spence is too slow, is what they think. Pacquiao fancies himself against Errol Spence, and that's recently, and not Terence Crawford. So those are legacy fights, right? So you have to mention that. If you say who he hasn't fought, then please mention, right? Because I don't think his resume is that weak, because you would then say, well, he should have fought this one and this one and this one. For example, Canelo. When we talk Canelo Alvarez, who's been number one pound for pound and the best, we can say in every division, if you look at 154, was he the best there? Like Terence Crawford was the very best at 135. At 154, was Canelo the best? He didn't fight Jamal Charlo. Tied Lara, really lost, right? Barely got a win there. And wasn't better than Demetrius Andrade. He was Demetrius Andrade's mandatory, didn't fight him. At 160, is he better than Jamal Charlo, where he got the franchise title or the Charlo belt? Was he better than Demetrius Andrade, who he didn't fight for Undisputed? We can't say, right? No, they should have fought them. And right in 68, right now, you got Andrade again, you got David Benavidez, David Morrell, right? Should have fought something. So that's the difference. And light heavyweight, we know Beterbiev and Gilberto Ramirez and Bivol. But I'm saying that's the difference. With Crawford, there's one guy. Like, oh, he didn't fight Spence yet. That's it. And we don't, and most people who ask who wins between Crawford and Spence are of them. Everybody against Errol Spence. You see what I'm saying? So in 60 most fights. And then, like I just said, if you could say, well, he should have fought who through his career? You got a couple of new ones in Boots Ennis and Virgil Ortiz, but who throughout his career was missing? There's nobody left. There's no close fights. There's no fights that he should readdress a la Lara, right? And when you're talking Golovkin, a la Jacobs, a la Darianchenko, none of that's popping off. You see what I'm saying? So that's what I'm saying. And just remember something too. Back when Lomachenko was like at 130, if I'm not mistaken, and Bud was at 140, do you know what he called it when they said, what about going up to fight Bud Crawford? Do you know what Lomachenko is the very best fighter we ever saw? Some would tell you. You know what he said about the 10 pounds difference? That would be suicide. That's what he said about Terence Crawford. So that's legacy to me. And here's another thing that I just want to say. What black fighters have signature wins? I just like to know that. Because I know Demetrius Andrade doesn't have any signature wins. And he's awesome as hell. Right? And who would you go for if you were like a Demetrius Andrade and you want a signature win? You'd probably go for the guy that they said is the best middleweight for the last 25 years. Been there, done that. He even asked Golovkin, right, I'll fight you right-handed just to get the fight instead of Golovkin bringing Vanis Matarosen up from 154 pounds and a 2-year layoff. But he would rather do that than fight Demetrius Andrade, right? And Andrade had a belt, by the way. Unification bout, and he'll fight you right-handed. Didn't accept that. And if you're Andrade, you're trying, well, if I can't get the one that's the best middleweight for the last 25 years, maybe I'll get the one that they call the best fighter in the whole wide world. I've been calling him out forever, Canelo. So, any signature fights for Demetrius Andrade? Signature fights for Wilder? Wilder can't get Anthony Joshua. That probably would have been signature. Can't get no signature fight. Wilder don't really got signature. He fought Tyson Fury, didn't win him, right? But he fought him, right? Even Devin Haney, he could beat Kambosos. But I'm pretty sure they'll probably say, well, Devin Haney has nothing signature because he couldn't get Ryan Garcia. You know Ryan Garcia was mandatory. Couldn't get Teofimo Lopez. Teofimo Lopez could have fought him for undisputed. But hey, the media called him undisputed even though he wasn't. So he didn't have to. Lomachenko. He was Lomachenko's mandatory. Calling Lomachenko out of his name, Nomachenko. That would have been signature. Can't get it. So what, Devin Haney doesn't have nothing signature? Deontay Wilder, not really signature? Andrade can't get nothing signature? And if I were up to you to let me know what black fighters have so-called signature wins. Because what y'all do is keep the signatures away from the brothers. They ain't gonna got no. And Terence Crawford had a whole bunch of signature wins, in my opinion. Whole bunch. And ain't nobody, because signature means I'm the very best and ain't nobody left who I should have fought. That's what Terence Crawford has, right? And here's another thing that we're doing about David Evanison right now, right? This is what we're up to. We're acting like he ain't nothing. Like everybody knocks him out. That's what we're acting like. Everybody knocks him out. He gets knocked out easy. What did Terence Crawford? We knew he was going to do that. No, he didn't. And at the beginning of the fight, listen to the commentators. They was like, ooh, Evanison comes forward. He believes in himself. All that good stuff. A little ass Terence Crawford ain't supposed to just knock Evanison out. But that's what he did. So there's worse fighters out there than Terence Crawford, guys. Let me just be real with y'all. There's worse fighters out there. And the guy, he gets dogged a little bit, right, for being the very best fighter. What you need to do is just send somebody who's better than him, right, that can beat him. And right now, I don't really see that. Now, if I were to say somebody who's on Terence Crawford's level, is going to give him a good fight, that's going to be Jerron Boots Ennis. I don't think that's going to be Virgil Ortiz. I think we need to stop doing that. And if we really believe that it was going to be Virgil Ortiz, let's not let him get a shortcut, right? Since Errol Spence and Terence Crawford should fight, like that's the biggest fight, we're so disappointed that that fight won't happen. It's a shame that Crawford won't fight Spence. I personally think it's more of a shame that Crawford didn't fight Pacquiao when Pacquiao was getting all those props and number 1, number 2 pound for pound, and he could have fought Crawford. at the same place, that's more of a shame. Because if he would have fought Pacquiao earlier, then his profile would have been raised like it should have been. But what we do is we take that signature win, we don't give him a chance to even get into a fight with a signature win, so we can continue to say this BS that we keep doing. And that's why I mention these other fighters, because the same fighters, if they're black, you're going to be able to ask them, who is he fought? Who is his signature wins? It's just a little round little carousel that they try to play the game with. My point is, brothers, stop playing the game with them. Doma Sports Talk Worldwide. And I'm up out of here, y'all.